Types of activities in Primavera P6. So here we are again in the projects window and we are going to work on various types of activities. Now the types of activities are by default set in the projects window. So for that you can go to this defaults tab in the bottom layout, and here you have default for new activities. Below that you have activity type. Taking a closer look, you can see we have activity type. There are 5 types of activity: task dependent, another is resource dependent, start milestone, finish milestone, then you have WBS summary and level of effort. So together we have 5 types of activity. The default one chosen in Primavera P6 is task dependent activity, and we are going to continue with that. So to add activities, we have to go to the activities window. We have already prepared the WBS, which can be seen by clicking on this icon of WBS. We have these WBS elements and we are going to add activities into this WBS elements. So I'll click on this activities icon here or command here, and the activities windows come up. Now we have the WBS elements shown but with different color coding. I am going to take this divider and drag it to the right, and we have various fields available, like we have activity name, plan duration, remaining duration, start and finish. I am going to also take this one and move it to a bit left, and we have also total float. We do not have any activities right now, it has only WBS elements. So let us start with having an activity. Now to add an activity, you can go and say file add, or here itself you can say plus, and it will apply to the activities window. So I'll say plus. Now this launches up the activity wizard. Now where this activity wizard is coming up, I'll cancel it and I'll go to edit and say user preferences. Under edit user preferences, if you remember in the earlier lesson I spoke about assistance. So here it is telling use new activity wizard, and that is why it is coming up. When you are new to Primavera, I would suggest that you use the activity wizard. When you have certain familiarity, you can disable it. Like activity wizard, also we have resource wizard. So I'm going to close it, and again I'll click on add. So I'll choose this WBS element of requirements and analysis phase, and I'm going to say plus. And let us say the activity name is travel to customer site. So I'll say travel to customer site or travel on customer site. So this is one activity, and I'm going to say next. Then we have this is added to this requirements analysis phase, as you can see. So we have this is that element that we are going to have requirement analysis phase. By default it is selected. Then you say next. Activity type, it is taking task dependent. Here also you have an opportunity to change the activity type. We will continue with task dependent. Then I'll say next again. It is asking for assignment of resources. We do not have any resources. We'll have resource assignment in the next lesson. Then I'll go for next. Duration type, it is also telling. The duration type default one is fixed duration in units, and we are going to continue with fixed duration in units. Then next, high labor units, high non-labor units, and high duration. The default duration we are going to continue with 5 days. Then next, dependent activities we do not have, so I'll say next. More details with respect to expenses or activity code or WPs and documents, again we do not have, so I'll say next, and it is now finished, and I'll say finish. Now the activity got added, travel to customer site or travel on site. So that also we can simply, here itself I can double click and can say travel on site, simplify it. So this is the activity that we have. Now the activity that we have, we can see going to the general tab below, that is the activity details. Here you can see the activity type is task dependent, the duration type is fixed duration and units, the percent complete type is duration, and importantly the activity calendar applied is WebMS project calendar, because we have already set the project calendar. Now again I am going to add another activity. So this time I am going to simply do a Control C and Control V. Instead of saying plus, I am going to say Control C and Control V. I'll do Control C and I'll do a Control V. Now it is popping up a dialog box. It is saying copy activity options, specify the activity information to be copied, resources, relationship, expenses, codes, and other details. I'll say OK. Then again it is asking incremental value is 10, another again will keep as it is, and I'll say OK. Then again it became 1010. Earlier it was 1000, it became 1010. After travel to customer on site, we have another activity. Let us say it is PRD preparation. PRD stands for product requirement documentation. So it is again for 5 days. Now if you want to edit or change the duration, let us say the travel on site, it is going to be 2 days. So it is 2 days. I just typed 2. That also will take 2. Now where this information is coming from? Again, go to edit, user preferences, and we have time units, and here it is taking as days. The duration format is in days, and I'm going to close on it. So we have this activity. Now if you want to change the activity types, here you can change it, like instead of task dependent, you can say it is resource dependent. Now when you say resource dependent, it become a resource dependent activity. Now the task dependent activity will be dependent on the task. That is, the duration will be 5 days or 2 days, whatever we have. And if you assign activity resources to the activity, the duration will remain as it is. In other words, you have task dependent activity when the resources are going to work together collaboratively for task dependent. If you go for a resource dependent activity, that time the duration will reduce. So for example, you have a 10 days duration, you have one resource, you added one more resource, that time the duration will get reduced to 5 days. So that time when resources are working independently, for that purpose you can go for resource dependent activity. So I'll keep this task as the task dependent activity. Then let us add another one. So I'll say PRD preparation, and I'll copy these two and do a Control C and Control V. I'll say OK, again OK. Now 2 more got added. So here I'm going to say, instead of travel to customer site, let us say this is PRD approval. And the PRD approval duration, let us say it will take 2 days. So here again PRD approval, I'll double click on it, but it is not changing because it became a milestone. By default it has taken a milestone, the PRD approval, as you can see. So I'm going to change it to again the task dependent. Now we can edit it. So I'll say 2 days it will take. Again, here also you can edit, instead of say 5 days of PRD preparation, if you are saying 10 days, you can put 10 days as well. So then you have PRD approval. After PRD approval, we have, let us say, requirement analysis phase complete. Requirements and analysis phase complete. And let us say this activity is not a task dependent activity, but a finish milestone. Not a start milestone, but a finish milestone. So I'm going to again go to the activity type, and here I'm going to change it to finish milestone. Now when I say finished milestone, you would have seen the duration changed from 5 days to 0 days, because milestone is a 0 duration activity. Primavera considers milestone as a 0 duration activity. The start field is gone, the finish field is showing 4th of October, not another date, but it is taking the start of the project. So these two fields you have to be looking simultaneously, because for finish milestone this will be applicable. If you have a start milestone, then the start date is going to be applicable.